There is a certain kind of discipline that makes people uncomfortable. Not loud discipline, not motivational speeches, not the kind that posts daily victories for attention. I am talking about the quiet kind. The kind where a person shows up every day without emotion, without negotiation, without explanation. At first, people admire it. Then they become confused by it. And eventually, they begin to resent it. Because consistency at that level exposes something most people spend their lives hiding: indecision, excuses, a mind that constantly negotiates with itself. But centuries ago, warriors in Japan developed a different relationship with discipline. They did not rely on motivation. They did not wait for the right feeling. They built something far more dangerous, a system that removed the human element entirely. And once this system was in place, the person practicing it became almost impossible to stop. The samurai principle. In ancient Japanese philosophy, discipline was not viewed as a burst of effort. It was viewed as a structure, like the frame of a sword, like the foundation of a temple, invisible but unbreakable. The samurai understood something modern life has forgotten. The human mind cannot be trusted to make daily decisions. It is emotional, it is inconsistent, it seeks comfort. So the samurai solved the problem in a simple but brutal way. They removed choice, not occasionally, completely. A familiar struggle. Consider someone like Daniel. Daniel wants to change his life. He wants focus, he wants discipline, he wants to become the kind of person who finishes what he starts. But his pattern never changes. One week he feels powerful. He wakes up early, he trains, he reads, he works with intensity. Then something small happens, a late night, a difficult day, a moment of fatigue, and suddenly the system collapses. Days are skipped, momentum disappears, and Daniel returns to the same sentence he has repeated for years. I just need more motivation. But motivation was never the problem. The problem was the system, and 5 illusions kept that system from ever forming. Illusion 1. Motivation. Most people believe action requires motivation, but motivation is unstable. It rises and falls like weather. If your discipline depends on motivation, then your discipline depends on luck. Ancient warriors understood this clearly. Action must exist before motivation, not after it. The act itself generates the emotion, not the other way around. You move first, your mind follows. Illusion 2. Choice. Modern culture worships choice, but too many choices create hesitation. Every morning becomes a debate. Should I train today? Should I rest? Should I start later? This internal negotiation drains energy before the work even begins. So the samurai removed the conversation entirely. No decision, no debate, only execution. Illusion 3. Variety. The modern mind craves novelty, new routines, new strategies, new productivity systems. But mastery is repetition, a sword strike practiced 10,000 times, the same movement, the same rhythm, the same focus. Variety creates stimulation, repetition creates power. Illusion 4. Perfection. Many people stop because they miss a day, or perform poorly, or break their own expectations. They believe discipline requires perfection, but perfection is fragile. Continuity is not. A river does not stop flowing because the water is imperfect. It simply continues, forward, always forward. Illusion 5. Willpower. Perhaps the greatest myth of all. Willpower is limited. It weakens under stress. It disappears when you are tired. If your system requires willpower every day, your system will eventually fail. The samurai did not depend on willpower, they depended on structure, and structure removes the need for strength. The samurai system. So what did their system look like? It was simple, but its simplicity made it terrifying. First, public declaration,
a commitment spoken openly, not whispered privately, because once a promise exists in the world, it becomes heavier, harder to escape. Second, fixed time, not when you feel ready, not when you have energy, the same time, every day. The mind stops negotiating when the clock decides. Third, fixed action, not multiple options, not complex routines. One action, one practice, repeated daily until it becomes mechanical. Fourth, practice without gaps, no empty spaces, no restart on Monday. The chain remains unbroken, even on difficult days, especially on difficult days. And finally, pre-decided responses. What happens when you feel tired? What happens when you feel resistance? The response is already written. There is no debate, only execution. What the brain does. Modern neuroscience quietly confirms what ancient warriors already understood. Researchers at institutions like Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology have studied how repeated behaviors shift from conscious effort into automated patterns within the brain. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. Eventually, the action becomes automatic, like walking, like breathing. At that point, discipline no longer requires energy. It becomes identity. Identity death. And this is where the transformation becomes uncomfortable, because systems do something habits cannot. They kill identities. The old version of you survives through inconsistency, through hesitation, through negotiation. But when action becomes automatic, the old identity has nowhere to hide. You begin to notice something strange. You are no longer asking whether you should act. You are acting, without emotion, without resistance, without discussion. Your old self would not recognize you, and neither will the people around you. The cold mind. This is the mindset people misunderstand. They call it extreme, they call it obsessive, they call it rigid. But in reality, it is freedom. Freedom from internal arguments, freedom from hesitation, freedom from the exhausting question of, should I? The samurai mind does not ask, it executes, like a machine, like a river, like choreography practiced until the body moves without thought. A quiet line you cross. At some point, if you follow this system long enough, something irreversible happens. You cross a line. The person who relied on motivation disappears. The person who waited for the perfect moment disappears. In their place stands someone quieter, colder, more precise, someone who does not need inspiration, only structure. And once that transformation happens, going back becomes almost impossible. Call to action. So here is a small but serious test. If this way of thinking resonates with you, make a public declaration, subscribe to this channel, and write one sentence in the comments. Not a goal, not a dream, a fixed action you will perform every day, at a fixed time, without gaps. Because writing it publicly changes something inside the mind. It turns intention into commitment. Final challenge. But understand something before you do. If you truly follow this path, if you build a system that removes choice, if you practice every day without interruption, you will not remain the same person. Your old identity will slowly disappear. Your habits will feel automatic. Your thinking will feel quieter. And one day you may look back at the person you used to be and realize something unsettling. You are no longer normal. And once that transformation begins, it cannot be undone.